Well, all right. Hey, what say you we dive in with another reading from the Secret Language of Birthdays book for June 12th, the day of buoyant optimism. And here we got a picture of some palmetto trees, I think, or just some palm trees in general. But I lean towards the palmettos, the old South Carolina state tree. It's even emblazoned on that flag there, for good reason. It reflected the cannonballs during the Civil War, I suppose. Maybe it was revolutionary, can't recall. Any event, hey, is it June 12th and it's your birthday there? Well, if it is, I just want to say happy birthday. And if you're finding this video long after your birthday has passed, well, I hope you had a happy birthday. And for everyone else who's just joining us out of curiosity, well, welcome, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Let's dive in, shall we? Your month is June, your day the 12th, and your sign is 20 to 22 degrees Gemini of the Gemini III period, and your quality and elements is mutable air. June 12th, the day of buoyant optimism. Those born on June 12th generally operate under the assumption that things are going to be fine. And rarely will they give in to a sense of defeatism, even when circumstances present a rather gloomy outlook. However, their cheerful exterior can at times hide a troubled inner life. Though they meet life's challenges squarely, such worldly concerns may draw an inordinate amount of energy away from their own problems. And they must be aware that unresolved personal issues do not undercut their endeavors. June 12 people can be very generous, giving people, but only when they feel it is warranted. Though optimists, they are realistic and objective individuals not to be approached for a handout, and generally of the opinion that God helps those that help themselves. And this attitude applies in relation to their children and parents as well, and although they are there for their families, they may appear a bit hard at times, and particularly since they are rather judgmental. In truth, those born on this day are extremely dutiful and responsible individuals who understand that too much kindness kills independence, and too much nurturing stifles growth. June 12 people are an interesting blend of pragmatist and idealist. Their naivete manifests in relation to themselves, not to the world at large, which they treat quite realistically. Unfortunately, those born on this day don't use the world as a mirror for self-understanding. Too often they surround themselves with people who perpetuate and reinforce an unrealistic image. And this June 12 people's greatest difficulty lies in perceiving themselves objectively. People born on this day are happiest when in motion. They love to fly, to drive, in short, to travel for its own sake. And too often they feel that by moving they can leave their troubles behind. But of course, such is not the case. Many June 12 people could benefit greatly from centering themselves and withdrawing periodically from their numerous involvements. More highly evolved June 12 people can succeed in facing up to their difficulties, and after they weather the initial shock and depression that may follow, they can emerge stronger and more aware individuals with a purpose. June 12 people seem to have boundless energy for a host of activities. They make good parents and friends in the sense of being fun, entertaining, and never boring. Though valuable, talented people, they need to temper their optimism and come to terms with the more problematic aspects of their personality. All right, hey, let's move on to those born on this day. But don't skip away too quick if you're not interested. Just use the chapters to advance to your numbers and planets and your tarot, etc. But I find it's important to drill down on the people born on this day so we know what company June 12 people are in. All right, born on this day, we have Anne Frank, the human symbol of World War II hope and suffering, the Dutch Jewish writer of the Diary of Anne Frank, and died in the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp at age 15. We have George Bush, the U.S. President, Vice President, and CIA Director, an ambassador to China, and an oil executive. We have Anthony Eden, the British Prime Minister, Bert Sackman, a U.S. Nobel Prize-winning neurophysiologist and measured Cell Function. We have Irwin Allen, film producer. We have Egon Schiele, the Austrian expressionist painter, and he died at age 28. We have Luis Garcia Berlanga, who was a Spanish film director of El Verdugo, Anselm Rothschild, a financier family of the Frankfurt branch. We have David Rockefeller, the banker and director of Chase Manhattan Bank. Chick Corea, a jazz fusion keyboardist and composer. We have John Charles Clifford, choreographer. Alessandro Pena, Italian poet and writer. Eric Goldman was a historian and wrote The Tragedy of Lyndon Johnson and was a CBS News commentator. We have Milovan Dihalas, a Yugoslavian cabinet minister and a political activist. The New Class was something he was responsible for. We have Jim Nabors, the TV actor and singer. We have Vic Damone, a singer. Bridget Brophy, a British novelist of The Snowball, was a writer of Mozart the Dramatist. We have Rana Yaffe, a novelist of The Best of Everything. We have Mary Lavin, an Irish short story writer, and Charles Kingsley, a British clergyman and writer of Westward Ho. All right, let's move on to your numbers and your planets. Those born on the 12th of the month are ruled by the number 3, as 2 + 1 = 3, and by the expansive planet of Jupiter. And those ruled by the number 3 frequently rise to the highest positions in their particular sphere. They also tend to be dictatorial, and the more dominant of June 12 personalities should beware of this. Those ruled by the number 3 like to be independent, and some June 12 people may feel the urge to relinquish positions of authority for greater personal freedom. They can also just grow tired of telling other people what to do. And the Jupiterian influence on number 3 magnifies the above-mentioned expansive and optimistic attitude of those born on this day. The mutual influence of Jupiter and Mercury, Gemini's ruler, indicate intellectual honesty. All right, moving on to your tarot. The 12th card of the major arcana is the Hanged Man, who dangles by his foot in a head-down position. Though such a position seems helpless, the Hanged Man is nevertheless spiritually powerful and deeply thoughtful. The positive attitudes of this card are recognizing limitations and overcoming them, as well as simply being human. Negative aspects are spiritual myopia and restrictedness. All right, and here is your health. June 12 people must be careful of self-inflicted damage due to an unrealistic idea of themselves. When they do not recognize their limitations, they put themselves at risk or harm. Thus, they tend to be overly optimistic concerning their health and believing that they are indestructible. Thus, they may not be psychologically prepared for disaster when it strikes. Those born on this day must guard against all sorts of injuries, particularly to the fingers, hands, and the arms. Regular checkups from a family physician they respect who can be tough and offer sound advice help to head off serious illness. And June 12 people usually display a good appetite and a positive attitude towards providing healthy food for themselves and their family. As Geminis, they do well with a varied diet. And here is your advice. Recognize the shadow side of your personality. Running away won't help, nor will denial. Sit down and have a good talk with yourself. Don't project your internal struggle on others, and try to understand where they are coming from. All right, here is your meditation. The sun brings both life and death. Your strengths and your weaknesses. Your strengths, you're optimistic and expansive. Your weaknesses, self-unaware and judgmental. Once again, your sign is Gemini, the Gemini III period specifically, and your quality and elements is mutable, air, and your season is spring. And this has been June 12th, the day of the Buoyant Optimist, from The Secret Language of Birthdays book by Gary Goldschneider and Joost. I have an affiliate link for this book down in the description there. Pick yourself up a coffee. It makes a coffee, too. Pick yourself up a copy, rather. And grace your coffee table with something that I know will get the conversation started. If you need an icebreaker of sorts for any kind of party you're holding or any visitors you might have. It might be a bad conversation, but it will be a conversation nonetheless. And you can just blame old Gary Goldschneider and Joost for all that if it takes a turn for the worse in any event. Hey, if it was your birthday, I just want to say happy birthday. And for everyone else who's just joining us out of curiosity, well, I hope you enjoyed yourself and you join us for your birthday reading. All right, take care of yourselves.